Well, hello, and welcome to the next episode of Daniel's Desk. So excited to talk to you all today about something that has been in the news pretty much all of 2016. In 2012, former President Barack Obama signed DACA, which is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. This program allowed people who were undocumented to come to the United States to obtain work permits and to actually legally work as a, not really citizen, but legally work in the United States with that permit. Now that we have President Trump in office, he has vowed to get rid of that program. So I figured it'd be really interesting to talk with two brave young women, Andrea and Esder, about their experiences as undocumented students here in America. So welcome to the show, ladies.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me. So first, I just want to talk about what exactly is DACA, because I don't know. I know there's DACA, there's Dreamers. Where do all these things come from? Can you take us? What is DACA?
So DACA is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It was a program that wasn't really started by like President Obama. There was a lot of undocumented individuals all over the nation that fought for it. So a lot of people say that the government did it. But at the end of the day, the workforce of like undocumented students, undocumented workers, undocumented people all over the nation, they went into Senate offices, they went and protested and marched and voiced their opinion and said, we belong to, and we deserve to stay here, so we're gonna fight. And Barack Obama basically was pressured, and he was like, okay, now it's time to do something. So in 2012, he was able to pass this temporary program, because DACA, that's what it is. It's temporary and it can easily be taken away.
Because it's an executive action, right?
Yes. So it's not a law that's been put in place. It's a program that if Trump wants to take it away, he can take it away easily, just like that.
And when Obama actually tried to pass not an executive action, but like kind of like a Congress and executive branch working together, called the DREAM Act, which is what you were referring to, but it didn't pass. But that basically gave a pathway to citizenship for a lot of undocumented people, both parents and children. But DACA is very limited to like people that have to fulfill like a bunch of eligibility requirements. So you have to have come here before like 2007.
Yes,
right?
so
And
they've
then,
had to be here
right,
5 years.
no criminal record, you have to be in school.
Yep.
So it's not parents at all.
You would have to have been here June 15, 2012, and present when he did that announcement. So it excludes a lot of people, so people that were younger.
How do you prove, like, oh, I was here, 2007?
It's a really rigorous process. We had to get like all the report cards from like when I was in kindergarten, or like first grade, second grade, third grade, like all that. And
to prove that you were here in the country, like I was at my high school's secretary, and I was like, you just need to do this letter for me, have the principal sign it, and say that I was here, I was here on this day, and hopefully I'm able to apply for this program and get it. Because if you weren't here and you didn't fill in those requirements, we were not gonna get it.
Do you know anyone that has experienced an ICE raid? What is that? What does that entail?
So personally, I had one of my closest friends, a few years back, it was probably like over 10 years ago, there was an ICE raid at her mom's workplace, and luckily she was able to escape, but others weren't so lucky, and they were arrested and deportation proceedings, and ultimately deported out of the country.
It's like the movies entail. People are in there, it might be a restaurant, and someone hears, ICE is here, and then they run out the back door.
Yep.
And another thing a lot of people don't know is after you're arrested, you're sent to this thing called immigration detention centers, which are basically prisons for undocumented immigrants. And
so they have their own separate.
Right. It's a prison facility that's profiting.
Yep.
It's a profit.
So over the years, the more that they're arresting and putting in deportation proceedings, the more that these private corporations and private facilities are making off. So the more beds that they can fill, the more money that's going in their pocket.
And because it's private, it's like very secured, and not a lot of people know about it. But there's so many human rights abuses there, and like abuses and assaults that happen, and they can stay there for like years.
Yeah, they don't care. Yeah, they could be there a few days, or they could stay there for months, years.
And so that brings me to the point of how you get here. right? In the news and in my brain and in movies, you see people crossing the border, and there's border patrol agents, and they're running through the border, and yeah, I don't know. That's what I heard through all of the Trump speeches, etc. And there's also people who overstay their visas, whether it be work visas or tourist visas. They expire, but then they just stay here. Can you talk a little bit about your experience and how you all came to be undocumented?
For me, I came here in 2005 under my mom's nursing visa, so that's like a work visa, so she can work as a nurse here. But in 2008, the economic recession kind of like targeted all the foreign workers, so they imposed this like English test for foreign nurses that really didn't have to do with like nursing skills, and my mom and a lot of foreign nurses failed that test.
They just randomly created a test.
From there, like their inner like ulterior motive was to get rid of the foreign nurses because they're stealing the jobs of citizens. So from there, I mean, we first came here as missionaries, so we overstayed our visas to like stay here as missionaries. And from there, I became an overstayed immigrant.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Overstayed immigrant.
So that's one.
And for me, like I was saying before, I came here 1 year and a half with my mother who was pregnant, and we were on a tourist visa. So our intention was only to stay for a few months, 5-6 months, and then go back to Venezuela, which was where we were living, where I was born. But then my grandma got really sick, and then my mom ended up giving birth. So my mom was like, you know, rather than go back, let's stay here. There's so many opportunities that we can take advantage of, you know.
Wait, so there's businesses where you can go to learn how to get across the border?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like certain people that, you know, they pay you. They're like, you've gone through the border, you know, can you guide me through the border safely and over the country so I can go over there, bring my family over, and, you know, have that better life.
And it's not an easy choice, like, to come here across the border. But like, when an immigration system is so broken and needs repair, it's inevitable that like people break the law. And a lot of the like argument against undocumented immigrants is, you know, why don't you come here legally? Like, people are standing in line, and you're just taking their position, like just cutting the line, you know.
Yeah.
But when, you know, there's 11 million undocumented immigrants here, it just shows that the law needs reform, and it's just unrealistic for people who are like desperate to come here and just want a better life.
But I imagine that crossing the border isn't so easy that you're just like, oh, you know, I'm here, I'm in America. It's like there's guard dogs, there's guys with guns, there's people who I'm sure are detained and sent back.
Yeah, there's miles and miles of desert basically, and you're so limited to what you can bring because you're gonna be walking for hours and hours, and sometimes you're not walking by yourself, you're walking with family members, your child, who, you know, has to be carried.
People you don't know.
Yeah, people who you don't know, and then you make that journey together. And there's people who have died of dehydration, of being so tired and not being able to make it, or being caught halfway through and being sent back. So it's that dilemma of some people passing it over and some people being caught either at the border or even before getting to the border and being like, you know what, this is not happening for you. And so it's doing that decision of, okay, I made it through, am I bringing my family over? Are they staying back in either Mexico or wherever? And making that decision. So it's so much that goes into it.
What are some other things that you think that people out there who want to see people like yourselves be deported, what's a message that you think that they can hear? Because I think a lot of people stay in the same groups and they may never meet an undocumented person. So this is your chance and opportunity to say something to them of like, you know, something that they should hear. What's that message?
I mean, I think a lot of stigma and discrimination exists towards this group because of the lack of knowledge and education that they get on our situation. And one of the things that are like continuously repeated is they're stealing my jobs, or they're stealing, like on Facebook I saw one day, like they're stealing my scholarship and place in like college. And I was like very offended by that because I think that's just an excuse for them to cover up their unqualified, you know, position.
The shade in this room.
For people to just be educated and listen to people's stories, you know, get educated on other people's sacrifices, because people think that it's so easy to either overstay their visas, cross the border, and give up everything, but you don't know what they're giving up back home. They might have jobs, you know, they're giving up families, you know. My mother hasn't seen her family for almost over 20 years.
Are you not allowed to travel outside the country?
No. So if we leave, we're not allowed to come back in.
Right, but for DACA,
As DACA. Yeah,
As
that's okay.
DACA, there's 3 reasons that you can go out. It's education, health-related, or career, or like job opportunities.
Okay, cool.
And so you have to apply for this thing called advanced parole from the USCIS. But with Trump and president, I was actually trying to study abroad next fall with advanced parole, study abroad program. But I've met a lot of like legal counselors, and they're like, with Trump and president, like you can't even
It's not
apply for
advised.
that. Yeah, you can't apply for advanced parole. So at this point, no undocumented people can go abroad.
So then I want to end by you two ladies are starting an organization to support undocumented students at Rutgers University. Can you tell me what this organization is and kind of, well, first off, how did you come to the idea to make it?
Right. So for me, it started in the summer. Where we got the Dream.us scholarship, so I was very excited, and I started talking to the advisor of the Dream.us scholarship, who is the director of academic partnerships, Ingrid. Over the summer, I was like contacting her a lot, and she kind of gave me the idea of like, oh, why don't you start an organization for undocumented students? You know, there are a lot of them, and most of them didn't get the Dream.us scholarship. And I was like, isn't there one already? Like, there should be one. She's like, no, it doesn't exist on this campus. And I was like, what?
We're surprised.
We need to start one. Like, I don't care if I'm a freshman, I'm going to start this organization.
So do you think that you're going to be able to get, because is it something that you want to come out as undocumented? You know, is it, you all are very brave to come out as undocumented. That's a process, right? Or do you think people are because of Obama's DACA program, more open about it?
Right, they really came out during his administration, but now I feel like a lot of people are shying away from that because of the new administration. But I think this club is going to really serve to empower them and kind of like welcome them as this is a safe space for you to come out if you want. But we're not going to reveal the statuses of the members, obviously.
And then in the long run, we want to educate not only students and people nearby, but also educate high school students who we were once, you know, who might not know how to get, you know, do that college application, think of college as a choice, you know, where we have so many guidance counselors who don't know about DACA, who need to be educated on that so that they can spread that awareness over to their students and be like, you know what, it's possible, even if you don't have that social security number, even if you couldn't apply for DACA, or if you do have DACA, you know, it's possible for you to get an education because everyone should have a right to.
What are you guys going to do for the future? What are your dreams? What do you want to be when you grow up?
I mean, for me, very specifically, I want to establish a nonprofit law firm that represents prisoners, both undocumented and prisoners, because undocumented immigration prison centers or prisons just represent prisoners who are unrepresented by the government, so like undocumented people, because I feel like the government, the criminal justice system really targets people of color, and that kind of has to do with undocumented people too.
You can say that again, listen. Yes, it does.
It does. Especially like when we talk about drugs or like mandatory minimum sentencing, that's obvious racial discrimination. So that's why like the prison population is growing with people of color. So I want to be a nonprofit lawyer for them and represent them, and who are not legally represented under the government.
That's awesome.
And for me, I don't have such a narrow focus.
You're young, you got time.
Yeah, for me, right now I'm a criminal justice major, and I'm really interested in law. I don't know if, you know, I'm gonna take that law route, but I'm really into giving back to my community, working with my community, giving back, you know, having that interaction and getting to know other people's stories, being able to help any way that I can. So I don't know if I'll be able to going into that law corporate world, or if I'll be working for a nonprofit and giving back through there. So
Well, whatever you ladies choose to do, I know that I'm going to be probably reading the paper one day and see you all doing amazing things. So thank you for taking the time to talk. I learned so much from this interview, and I'm assuming other people did too. So thank you.
Thank you.
thank you
Danielle.
for having us.
Of course. Welcome to Gripes with Grimes. Let me start with a qualifier. I do not hate rich people. I mean, why would I hate my future self? But I do hate how our society is structured in a way that keeps the poor poor. I like to call this the overfeecation of society. Think about it. If you overdraft your bank account, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna get hit with a fee. Your electricity goes off, your water goes off, any of your utility bills go off. To get that back on, you get hit with a fee. You need to change any sort of appointment, likely gonna be a fee. And guess who can't likely afford to pay this fee? Poor people. It's quite annoying. And I'm sure many of you are thinking, Well, who's that poor? I know a few people. But even if you're not that poor, think about it. There are fees that are affecting middle class as well. Have you ever tried to change your airline? Well, you're gonna hit with a $200 to $300 fee just to change your airplane ticket. I mean, does it really cost a penny for you to hit 2 buttons on a computer, change my flight from this hour to this hour, and give me a new seat? I don't think it does, but the airlines still are gonna collect a fee. So, America, I think it's time to end the overfication of our society and just get rid of these fees. I mean, where do they even go? If you agree with me, comment on the comment section below and let me know. And if I missed any fees, let me know that too. Or if you disagree with me, feel free to comment below. And tune in next week for Daniel's Desk.